I think Debbie Grayson's character might get assassinated next season. Now look, I don't usually like making videos about things I dislike. I'd rather talk about things that I enjoy, things I find interesting. But the potential assassination of Debbie's character is something I think genuinely could happen. And apparently, this is a pretty controversial topic. The topic being Debbie rekindling her romantic relationship with Omni-Man or Nolan Grayson. A lot of people believe Nolan and Debbie should eventually get back together. Honestly, I don't. I don't think they should get back together. But before I get into why I believe that, for those unfamiliar with Invincible, the story follows Mark Grayson, a normal teenager whose father happens to be the world's strongest superhero, Omni-Man, or Nolan Grayson. After finally getting powers himself, Mark tries to become a hero, only to discover that the superhero world is far more violent, traumatic, and morally complicated than he ever imagined. And through all of that, Debbie, who I'm talking about in this video, serves as the emotional center of the family. She's a grounded human element, keeping Mark connected to his family. Alright, now let me be clear. Does Nolan deserve redemption? Maybe. I do think he's capable of doing good. I think redemption in some capacity is possible for him. But I don't think redemption needs to include Debbie taking him back romantically. And honestly, if Nolan's redemption arc ends with Debbie falling back in love with him, I genuinely think that would assassinate her character in the show. Because the show version of Debbie is not the same as the comic version. In the comics, Debbie takes Nolan back pretty quickly after he returns to Earth. But the show intentionally changes her character. When Nolan apologizes in the series, in the Amazon Prime series, Debbie doesn't immediately forgive him. She rejects the apology entirely. Almost, or I wouldn't even say almost, she entirely rejects the idea that he even deserves forgiveness, that it's even possible for him to receive forgiveness from Debbie. The concept is impossible in her brain, or at least she voiced that opinion when he came to her.
But I will spend the rest of my life trying to repair the damage I did.
Repair the damage. This can't be fixed, Nolan. There's no way back from where you are. You murdered people.
And honestly, I appreciated that change a lot because it made her feel human. It made her feel emotionally intelligent instead of emotionally dependent. But toward the end of season 4, it seems, again, I could be wrong, of course. This video is just speculation. But it seems like the show might be hinting at rekindled chemistry between them after Debbie reveals that she and Paul split due to quote-unquote incompatibility.
What about, Paul?
Not that it's any of your business, but we ended it months ago.
And I'm not gonna lie, I already have like a problem with that, but that's another conversation. Her and Paul breaking up because of incompatibility, when it was the whole point of him being there was because he was compatible with Debbie because he's a normal person. But that's another conversation, maybe another video, I'm not sure. But the reason this bothers me so much is because Debbie's strength is a massive part of her character in the Amazon Prime series. This version of Debbie is emotionally mature, independent, grounded. She raised 2 superpowered Viltrumites capable of destroying entire civilizations. She questions Nolan consistently, constantly. She isn't a passive character. She isn't just some background character waiting around for Nolan's redemption arc to happen. The show goes out of its way to explore her trauma, her grief, and her attempt to rebuild her life after Nolan destroyed it. We actively watch her learn how to live without him. That matters. Because Debbie isn't written as a character whose purpose is to validate Nolan consistently, or validate Nolan emotionally. She's written as her own person. And look, I understand the comfortability aspect of it. Nolan changes, he starts behaving more human, he protects Earth, he fights against the Viltrumites, he tries to do the right thing by Mark and Oliver. That's good, that's growth. But why does that automatically need to lead to Debbie taking him back romantically? Why does his redemption require her validation? This man killed thousands of people on Earth. Alone, by the way. Like, this is what he's done on Earth. He murdered the Guardians of the Globe. Nearly beat his own son to death. He lied to Debbie for lied to Debbie for 20 years. And then he cheated on her and had another child and then referred to that child to her face as a mistake. And if it makes it worse, the child wasn't even a human being. You know what I'm saying? It was from a different planet. I'm not that makes it worse, maybe, I don't know. If you're a woman and a man cheat on you with an alien, would that make it worse? I'm not sure. And look, okay, it's true. Nolan was indoctrinated for hundreds of years, arguably a millennia, and being an alien conquistador is all he knows. But that's not enough reasoning. That doesn't excuse Debbie being expected to take him back. Nolan is a mass murderer, whether we like it or not, whether he likes it or not. And the whole thing of him being indoctrinated for a millennia of years, that kind of thing, that has nothing to do with Debbie as her own character, as her own human being. That does not mean that she is required to take him back now because that's all he knew. And somehow people still expect Debbie to realistically rebuild romantic trust with him. I just don't buy it. And look, to be clear, I'm not saying Debbie will get back with Nolan next season. I'm not saying that. We don't know. I hope not. But I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I've noticed a lot of people online constantly pushing for it. But the Debbie we see in the show, the emotionally matured, traumatized, independent version of Debbie, realistically wouldn't take Nolan back. And if she does, then all that growth, independence, and emotional realism starts feeling a lot less genuine.
I do love your mother, but she's more like a pet to me.
A pet?
And honestly, this is a kind of messed up thing to say, but if she does get back with Nolan, well, I mean, as they say, pets are loyal.